Chapter 81, Chapter 81, Chapter 81. Let me check. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 81, Chapter 81. Let me check, translator. 549690339. Jiang Xiaobai dared not ignore Ao Yan's words. After all, the fact that he could survive in Dragon Valley was largely thanks to this woman. He sat down in front of Ao Yan at once. Ao Yan was calm. She picked up the teacup and placed it in front of Jiang Xiaobai, then poured him a cup of tea herself. Such an action startled Jiang Xiaobai. What new tactics was this woman initiating? What was she up to? However, Jiang Xiaobai understood that in times like these, the best course of action was to keep his calm. Aren't you going to explain today's events? Ao Yan suddenly spoke up. Jiang Xiaobai pretended to be clueless. What event? I don't know anything. Still dare to play dumb with me? Ao Yan's face suddenly turned cold. Don't think I don't know, you were the one behind all this. Explain what you did, in detail, or else kneel in the courtyard for the night. At this, Jiang Xiaobai completely caved in. He did not want to kneel here. Apart from the shame, his knees would hurt. Left with no choice, he confessed all, and prepared himself for Ao Yan's retaliation. Surprisingly, Ao Yan did not make any move. She just continued drinking her tea indifferently. Aren't you going to punish me? Why should I? You did stir up trouble everywhere with my little brother, but Ao Tianheng had it coming. Ao Yan scoffed. Do you think I am a person who particularly likes to control him? Jiang Xiaobai solemnly nodded his agreement. That's just for show. If I really wanted to teach him a lesson, do you think he would be free to run around everywhere? Ao Yan laughed lightly. You don't understand the circumstances in Dragon Valley. If our parents can't manage him, it's my duty as his elder sister. We must maintain certain appearances. While she spoke, there was a satisfied look in Ao Yan's eyes. At this point, Jiang Xiaobai finally realized what was happening. This was truly a pair of remarkable siblings. The elder sister seemed to always discipline her younger brother, but in reality she was protecting him. Thinking about it made sense. If Ao Yan really wanted to punish Ao Cheng, he would have been brought to his knees long ago. Each time Ao Yan scolded Ao Cheng, it was as if she was performing. Realizing this, Jiang Xiaobai couldn't help but burst into laughter. You guys are really what? Ao Yan gave Jiang Xiaobai a cold look. Jiang Xiaobai looked awkward as Ao Yan continued. Did you cause the trouble with the ancient clan? Yes, I wanted to delay for some time. Jiang Xiaobai indifferently replied. I also want to struggle for my life. It would be too frustrating to just die like that. You could leave. Ao Yan looked at him. Leave? Jiang Xiaobai replied with a light laugh. Where can I go? With my current strength, I don't think I could even get away from the vicinity of Tianyuan City before the ancient clan catches me. Moreover, I don't think I could get away. The small courtyard fell silent for a time. Although Jiang Xiaobai had some strength now, his time was running out. Even if he swallowed up a spirit stone vein each day for a month, his cultivation would not greatly improve. Even if he managed to reach the dividing the gods stage, so what? The ancient clan was filled with high-level cultivators. Even Dragon Valley had to make way for them, so someone in the early dividing the god stage like him still wouldn't stand a chance against them. Given the help you've offered to Ao Cheng all this while, I promise to protect you as much as I can. If it's impossible, I would do my utmost to get you out of Dragon Valley. As for what happens next, it's up to your own fortune, Ao Yan replied after a moment's silence. Jiang Xiaobai was quite satisfied with this assurance. Apart from grabbing him, Ao Yan didn't owe him anything. All right, I am at ease with your words. Jiang Xiaobai chuckled, drinking his tea as he asked, oh right, did Lu Xuanhuan concoct any elixir for you today? Oomph. You've got some nerve asking. All of today was spent dealing with Ao Tianheng's matters. Where would there be time for him to concoct elixirs for? Ao Yan scoffed, but he did say that tomorrow he'll inspect all circumstances, trying to concoct an elixir that I could use. However, due to the delay you caused, I can only hope to break through to the late dividing the god stage before the ancient clan arrives, and no harm will come to you. Jiang Xiaobai shrugged. not particularly concerned. Still, he felt moved deep down and took a round, white jade-like elixir from his storage space. No need to trouble Lu Qingquan anymore. If he concocts an elixir as per your suggestion, even if it does fulfill your requirements, it would severely impact your future cultivation. Jiang Xiaobai calmly added, it will overdraw the potential of your bloodline. While it may offer a short-term enhancement, it would make higher stages unreachable in the future. Ao Yen fell silent. Of course she knew this, but she had no choice. The situation did not allow her any retreat. Although she knew it would overdraw the potential of her bloodline, she had to do it, otherwise, all her efforts might be in vain. No need for your opinion. Doing this might be for my own sake, but if I can make the breakthrough, you can survive too, said Ao Yen looking at Jiang Xiaobai, but Jiang Xiaobai just smiled and shook his head. That method won't work. Consume this elixir instead. It will hasten your bloodline's awakening speed. Coupled with a few magical pills, your breakthrough will just be a matter of time. I estimate it would be successful in about half a month. Hearing this, Ao Yen frowned. She had considered this method too, but the strength of the bloodline within her was too powerful. Accelerating its awakening speed was impossible. Forget about it being impossible. Even if there was a way, the cost would be astronomical. Moreover, the probability of success was minimal. Instinctively, Ao Yen did not believe in Jiang Xiaobai's elixir, but on second thought, he did manage to create a detoxifying elixir. Perhaps he could really find a solution. Are you sure about this? After thinking about it for a bit, Ao Yen looked at Jiang Xiaobai. This involves many things, many lives. Are you sure this will work? Ao Yan's words were grave, and Jiang Xiaobai was slightly taken aback. What should he say? Regarding the elixir, he was not sure either. The most critical factor was the state of Ao Yan's bloodline. Give me your hand, let me check, Jiang Xiaobai said seriously, for the matter was indeed serious, and he just remembered this point. Had he known, he would have first checked Ao Yan's condition before finding a solution. Ao Yan was also made nervous by Jiang Xiaobai's demeanor. Was it reliable or not? But thinking about the impending crisis in Dragon Valley, Ao Yan had no choice. After hesitating, she decided to grasp at straws. She stretched out her flawless, tender hand. It was full moon tonight and the moonlight was extraordinarily bright, illuminating the woman's tender hand, making it appear even more alluring. Chapter 82, Chapter 82, Chapter 82. One have nowhere to sleep. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 82, Chapter 82. One have nowhere to sleep. Translator, 549690339. Jiang Xiaobai gently places his hand on Ao Yan's wrist, distinctly feeling a tremor from her. Subconsciously, Jiang Xiaobai looks up at her. He sees Ao Yan's indifferent eyes, and her countenance is icy, as frigid as frost. What are you looking at? Ao Yan glares at him with irritation. She hasn't been this intimate with a man before. Her previous altercation with Jiang Xiaobai was accidental, but this time, she willingly interacted. Thus her heart feels choked up, strange emotions constantly fermenting within her. She almost wanted to slap Jiang Xiaobai. Jiang Xiaobai quickly lowers his head and starts to concentrate on sensing the strength of Ao Yan's bloodline. He really wasn't familiar with this stuff. But with the presence of the old June's pill refining technique, he could still make a rough analysis. If he didn't analyze, it would have been alright, but on analyzing, he was taken aback. This damned bloodline was too potent. The intensity was so high that the innate power within the bloodline was enough to make anyone palpitate. Success. Jiang Xiaobai couldn't contain his excitement. With such a potent bloodline, the pill would certainly activate Ao Yan's bloodline completely. What does that mean? Ao Yan raises an eyebrow at him. Success means once you take this pill, it will stimulate your bloodline within 7 days. Jiang Xiaobai excitedly explained, not only it has no side effects, but it can also help you absorb more strength from your bloodline. This way, your strength-enhancing speed would rocket up quickly, just like shooting up into the sky in an instant. Rocket? Whoosh, whooshing. Ao Yan was left dumbfounded by Jiang Xiaobai's metaphors, but she understood one thing: Jiang Xiaobai's method was working. Come on, no time to lose, let's take it quickly. Jiang Xiaobai tried to force-feed the pill into Ao Yan's mouth, but he noticed a playful look in Ao Yan's eyes, horrifying him and causing beads of cold sweat to trickle down his back. Cough cough, too excited there. You should quickly eat it. I've also got some other pills here that could help you. Jiang Xiaobai coughed and tried to laugh it off. Ao Yan chuckled softly, shook her head, and her focus returned to the pill. The pill looked appealing and emitted a mysterious aura. Ao Yan had doubts initially, but after careful consideration, she realized that her bloodline was humming softly, highly active. Perhaps it is an opportunity. It wouldn't hurt to try. Ao Yan murmured to herself, and with a determined inhalation, she picked up the pill and put it in her mouth. As the cherry-like lips open and shut, the pill dissolves and its pure potency spreads all over her body. In an instant, her bloodline starts to tremble vigorously, constantly integrating with her own body. The strength inside her bloodline made her beautiful eyes flutter. It could really work. At this time, a bunch of pills appeared in Jiang Xiaobai's hand. Quick, down these while you can. It can protect your heart meridian from the overpowering strength of the bloodline, preventing any serious damage. Jiang Xiaobai hands her a red pill. Ao Yan, fully trusting Jiang Xiaobai now, swallows the pill without thinking. Nearly 8 pills in, Ao Yan felt her internal conditions easing a bit. Her bloodline is still vigorously integrating with her body, but it is not as violent anymore. I have to close myself off. You'll deal with them tomorrow. Leaving behind that comment, Ao Yan ran into the room, and in an instant, an intimidating presence enveloped the entire chamber. Jiang Xiaobai was left dumbfounded. But, what should I do? I have no place to sleep. Damn. Jiang Xiaobai grips his hair in stress. You could have gone to the practice room for closing off, it would have been safer than here. But he had no choice. He knew that this was a crucial moment for Ao Yan and she couldn't be disturbed. Jiang Xiaobai sighed, asked the maids to tidy up the courtyard, while he went to the Dragon Palace and brought Ao Wan and Ao Zhanbei over. After learning about the situation, both Ao Wan and Ao Zhanbei had ecstatic expressions. If Yener could make a breakthrough, we wouldn't have to fear the Gu clan this time. Indeed, Marshal C. Immortal Venerable is on his way, probably arriving within 3 days. Ao Wan's face turned red due to excitement. His grateful gaze at Jiang Xiaobai said a lot. He knew that Ao Yan had this opportunity because of Jiang Xiaobai, but now was not the time for gratitude speeches. Ao Wan gathered all the experts in Dragon Valley and had the courtyard surrounded tightly, layer upon layer. No enemies, not even a mosquito, could enter. As for Jiang Xiaobai, he was driven to Ao Cheng's mansion. Ha ha ha, Jiang Xiaobai, you're saved this time. If my sister successfully makes the breakthrough, not the Gu clan, no one else could challenge the people standing with Dragon Valley. Ao Cheng patted Jiang Xiaobai's shoulders and roared with laughter. Jiang Xiaobai just nods, without giving too much importance. He always only trusted himself, only believed that the strength of his own fists was the hard truth, that alone could ensure his safety in this world. Even if Ao Yan could fend off the Gu clan once, what then? Would Gu clan never target him again? Moreover, the Gu clan still had their men lurking within Dragon Valley. If pushed to the edge, they would surely attack him. With these thoughts, far from feeling relaxed, Jiang Xiaobai increasingly felt a sense of impending crisis. Those fellows from the Gu clan need to be dealt with, and if possible, eliminated. Wonder how the plan is going. Staring at the moonlit night, Jiang Xiaobai leaned against a big rock and lost himself in deep thought. Within a big city tens of thousands of miles away from Tianyuan City, the Hongwu Trading Company's auction was very fierce. Everyone was fighting tooth and nail to get their hands on a Huijing pill. Though this auction only had 5 Huijing pills, there were simply too many interested parties vying for too little, despite Hongwu Trading Company not having much. Time to promote the event. The auction house was packed. Gu Bei sat in the finest private suite, knit his brows. The demand for Huijing pills exceeded his expectations. Although the Gu clan had already arranged with Golden Eagle Pavilion to get a certain share of Huijing pills, but who wouldn't want more of such a thing? For the first 3 pills of this auction, Gu Bei didn't participate in the bidding. As such, he was determined to get the last 2. As a result, the competition was fierce. In the end, Gu Bei managed to get 2 Huijing pills at a great cost. He quickly inspected the pills. They seemed impressive, better than the ones the Gu clan had. Though we lost some spirit stones, the gain is worth it. He knew that if they managed to snatch all the Huijing pills from the neighboring big cities, it would count as a major accomplishment. The position of the Gu clan would further escalate. Gu Bei was resolute. Within a moment, regardless of the expenditure, he would gather all those Huijing pills. Chapter 83, Chapter 83, Chapter 83, A.O. Zhantian's personal arrival. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 83, Chapter 83, A.O. Zhantian's personal arrival, translator, 549690339. Clearly, Gu Bei had walked right into a trap. In fact, anyone would fall for it, because the allure of Huaqin pill was simply too great. To completely remove the fire poison was a dream of countless cultivators. There were countless people who, because of the havoc wrought by the fire poison within their bodies, had the opportunity to reach higher realms but found themselves stuck. Therefore, Jiang Xiaobai's scheme was quite ruthless. No one could resist falling for it. Worth mentioning is that Gu Bei, with his cunning mind, also found the situation a bit fishy. After all, the Huaqin pill had always been sold at the Golden Pavilion, and no one else had ever had the opportunity to access it. However, this time, not only did outsiders start selling Huaqin pills, but many pieces of news were released consecutively as well. Gu Bei's keen intuition told him that something was off about this, but he couldn't figure out the purpose behind it. He didn't know that Jiang Xiaobai was behind all this, so he couldn't even think in that direction. After thinking about it for a long time, he finally gave up, because getting the Huaqin pill was enough. When Jiang Xiaobai learned from the auction house about the entry of the Gu clan, he understood that Gu Bei had fallen into the trap. With this, he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. This plan gave him at least half a month, or even a whole month, to catch his breath. He could seize this gap in time to develop himself desperately, to find a way. At present, everything seemed to be going smoothly. Kong Yuhui had been trapped in Dragon Valley. No matter what, Jiang Xiaobai would not let him go. He would have to wait until Gu Bei arrived. According to A.O. Cheng's intention, Saintess Lu Shi of the Yuxian sect would also come to Dragon Valley. What Jiang Xiaobai needed to do was to keep her here. A.O. Yan had already started breaking through the realm. According to Jiang Xiaobai's estimate, she would definitely succeed this time. If A.O. Yan's talent and potential could be fully utilized, she could increase her power even further, directly reaching a higher level without any problem. While pondering these things, it seemed that his chances of survival were high. However, Jiang Xiaobai would not be complacent about this. He didn't fight for so much time for himself in vain. Now it seems that if I want to fight against the Gu tribe, I must find a power that can fight against the Gu tribe and get their support. The Huaqin pill absolutely cannot be exposed to outsiders. In this case, the difficulty is increased. Jiang Xiaobai thought, feeling as if a great number of his brain cells had died. It was too difficult. If the decision-makers of the large forces, they would not oppose the Gu tribe for the sake of Jiang Xiaobai. If it were the heirs like the Saint's son, their importance was not enough, not to mention that he didn't have any capital that could help him garner support from others. For a time, Jiang Xiaobai began to focus on the spirit stone veins again. If I can get more spirit stone veins, with the Kunpeng swallowing sky skill, my strength can skyrocket in a short period of time. But the problem arose. The spirit stone veins are not easy to get. Throughout the night, Jiang Xiaobai was filled with thoughts but found no good methods. By the break of day, the only decision he could make was to take one step at a time. What Jiang Xiaobai didn't expect though was that A.O. Yan's retreat for breakthrough brought him a huge trouble, a life and death crisis. In the bright morning, as the three of them left the mansion, discussing where to go to unwind, a group of people suddenly rushed out, surrounding A.O. Cheng's mansion. "You bastards, do you all want to die? How dare you surround my mansion?" Upon seeing this, A.O. Cheng immediately became furious. "Are you all fucking blind? Can't you see who I am?" He brought out his arrogant and domineering young master's temperament. However, it was useless. Those guys completely ignored A.O. Cheng. Instead, they released their own auras and surrounded the three of them. The strength of these guys was all at the nascent soul stage. Nearly 100 people, all of them were masters of the nascent soul stage. What's going on, brother A.O. Cheng?" Kong Yuhui was once again frightened by such a scene. "Who am I supposed to ask?" these are Dragon Valley's dragon guards, directly under the jurisdiction of the ancestral temple. Even Ao Cheng was at a loss. Weird, the old guys of the ancestral temple want to take action against me? Correct. At this moment, a booming voice came from behind the human wall. An old man with white hair and a white beard pushed through the crowd and strode in. The moment he saw the person, Jiang Xiaobai's pupils contracted. He knew this elder. It was him who had been in contact with the Gu tribe all the time, and he was trying to kill him. If he showed up now, it must be to kill him. While Jiang Xiaobai was puzzled, Ao Zhantian snorted, Ao Cheng, how dare you collude with outsiders to plot against my grandson? You almost killed him. You think you can do whatever you want in Dragon Valley? Well, I was wondering who it was. It turns out it's you, old undead creature. Upon seeing it was Ao Zhantian, Ao Cheng immediately sneered, his face full of ridicule and contempt. I've already said, I didn't bully your grandson. We have the Saint Son of 5 Lotus Mountain as a witness. Are you brainless, or do you, Ao Zhantian, think you're so capable that you don't even consider the 5 Lotus Mountain? With sharp words, he targeted Ao Zhantian's weakness. Ao Zhantian's face turned green with anger, and for a moment was unable to retort. Seeing their interaction, it was clear that they often quarreled with each other. Don't worry, this old guy's just using his seniority to bully people in Dragon Valley every day. He's just a decorative piece, an incompetent wimp. Ao Cheng was incredibly arrogant. Once he said this, he completely enraged Ao Zhantian. You little shit, I've been meditating quietly for several years. You probably don't know my techniques, right? Ao Zhantian rebuked angrily. Dragon guards, heed my command. This man has colluded with outsiders to play dirty tricks on Dragon Valley's talented disciples, causing great harm. Arrest him and throw him into the dungeon for disposal. At his command, the hundreds of dragon guards around them took out their menacing dragon-headed swords from their waists. Young Master Ao Cheng, do not make it difficult for us. The leading dragon guard said coldly. Seeing that they were serious, Ao Cheng was dumbfounded. Ao Zhantian, are you out of your mind? You dare to lay hands on me? Do you believe that my grandfather will tear your old bones apart when the time comes? Ao Cheng immediately yelled, Humph, how arrogant. You dare to insult the elder. Do you still have the rules of Dragon Valley in your eyes? Take him away. Whoever resists, execute them on the spot. Ao Zhantian's face was frosty, and his eyes were filled with ferocious bloody desire to kill. On the surface, he was ferocious towards Ao Cheng, but in reality, Jiang Xiaobai clearly felt that the murderous intention had been aimed towards. Chapter 84, Chapter 84, Chapter 84, Sent to the Big Prison. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 84, Chapter 84, Sent to the Big Prison, Translator, 549690339. Jiang Xiaobai squinted his eyes instantly. He never would have guessed that this old man actually was Ao Tianheng's grandfather. A top-tier leader of Dragon Valley, colluding with the ancient family. Absolutely despicable. Jiang Xiaobai knew very well in his heart that he absolutely couldn't be taken back to the jail by Ao Zhantian. There was still room for negotiation now, but if he got caught, wouldn't that mean Ao Zhantian was in charge? This bastard timed it perfectly to come out now. Knowing that Ao Wan and Ao Zhenbei were in Ao Yan's courtyard, nobody could do anything to him. If he was taken, his fate was sealed. Meanwhile, the surrounding dragon guards slowly moved forward, ready to arrest him. Who the hell dares to touch me? Ao Cheng suddenly yelled. His momentum burst out, strong and commanding. He managed to stun the dragon guards surrounding him. Ao Cheng, your courage is getting bigger and bigger. I want to see if you dare to resist the dragon guard. Even if you were killed, no one would bat an eye. Ao Zhantian looked at Ao Cheng with a sneer. Jiang Xiaobai sharply noticed that when he said this, Ao Cheng's face changed greatly. It must be true, you damn old man. What exactly do you mean? I told you it's not my doing. Ao Cheng grinded his teeth and said, whether it is or not, following the dragon guard back for investigation should prove it. Ao Zhantian coolly responded. Ao Cheng, seething with rage, pointed at Ao Zhantian. How would you know that this is my mansion, and according to Dragon Valley's rules, no one can violate my property? You're under serious suspicion now. I can arrest you anywhere, even if you're on hallowed ground. Ao Zhantian's face remained expressionless. At this, he really managed to tie Ao Cheng's hands. He was truly helpless now, and could only look to Jiang Xiaobai. The look on his face was practically saying, "Why are you just looking, why not say something?" Jiang Xiaobai was extremely serious. If handled incorrectly, he might have to say goodbye to this life. "Wait, respected elder, you said we're under serious suspicion, but I'd like to ask, what makes you think that?" Jiang Xiaobai's face was calm. "After all, even if we have to catch someone, we need a good reason, don't we?" "Exactly, if you have no reason to suspect us but act rashly, that is essentially misusing the dragon guards. I could resist and it wouldn't matter." Ao Cheng yelled urgently. Ao Zhantian began to chuckle. "First, who have had conflicts with my grandson, I have reason to suspect it was you. Second, it's clear that my grandson pointed out that Jiang Xiaobai and Ao Cheng attacked him." "Horseshit." Jiang Xiaobai huffed coldly. "You actually believe his blatant slander? Well then, if I said your grandson is an idiot, does that make it true? You insolent fool, are you courting death?" Ao Zhantian's face instantly changed. "Yesterday at the ancestral temple, Saint Kong from 5 Lotus Mountain witnessed it all and testified that what happened to your grandson is not our doing." Jiang Xiaobai squinted his eyes, his face cold. "Now you're pulling such a stunt, how could Saint Kong believe you?" Ao Zhantian remained silent, just narrowing his eyes and looking at Jiang Xiaobai. After a moment, he suddenly sneered. "Jiang Xiaobai, people say you're a smart man with guts, which seems true indeed. But do you think you'll get off easily just like this?" Ao Zhantian, smiling, turned to Kong Yuhui, bowing, and said, "Saint Kong, as the elder of Dragon Valley, I of course believe in your words. However, these two haven't been with you the whole time, and I have reason to suspect they have planned everything in advance. So just bringing them back for investigation, it doesn't mean I don't respect the power of 5 Lotus Mountain. This won't involve you, rest assured. I'll make sure someone gives you a proper tour of Dragon Valley." With these words, he completely cut off all of Jiang Xiaobai's means and plans. He clearly stated that it's not about disregarding 5 Lotus Mountain, but about suspecting them and needing to investigate. Kong Yuhui was completely helpless. Similarly, Jiang Xiaobai couldn't think of any way either. Now they were surrounded by hundreds of dragon guards. He could escape if he wanted to, but that would expose all of his power, providing Ao Zhantian with more evidence. "Why does a mere mortal like you have such power? Tell me, what's your purpose in Dragon Valley?" Jiang Xiaobai was well aware of this. His mood was extremely heavy. "Ao Cheng, Jiang Xiaobai, do not resist. It's not worth the effort if the dragon guards accidentally harm you." Ao Zhantian sneered at the two. "Old dog, we'll see." After a long time, Jiang Xiaobai finally retorted. Ao Zhantian laughed at his response. "With just you think there's a chance to get out of prison?" Having said that, he waved his hand and the surrounding dragon guards stepped up. Ao Cheng wanted to resist, but was stopped by Jiang Xiaobai. "Are you mad? If we just let this old dog take us, we'll both suffer." Ao Cheng looked at Jiang Xiaobai in rage. "Resisting is futile, this has all been well planned by him. If you dare resist, they would cut you down instantly. Do you believe it?" Jiang Xiaobai looked at Ao Cheng calmly. With no choice, Ao Cheng could only grunt angrily. "Don't fucking touch me, I can walk by myself." And so, they could only follow the dragon guards away. When they passed Ao Zhantian, Jiang Xiaobai didn't say a word, but he just gave Ao Zhantian a cold look. If he gets a chance to survive this time, the first thing he'll do when he gets out would be to kill this old man. Just wait. Jiang Xiaobai swore quietly to himself. After an hour, Jiang Xiaobai and Ao Cheng had already been locked in the special prison of Dragon Valley. There were many rooms in the prison, all made of special materials and reinforced with magic formations. Unless one possessed the strength of a dividing the gods later stage, there's no way to break this gate. Even if you could break out and rush forward, there would be hundreds of experts in the nascent soul stage and dividing the gods stage outside, ready to cut you down. Just after being confined, Ao Cheng was constantly screaming in anger and kicking the prison door. The banging sound was never ending, but it was utterly ineffective. Damn it, this was all set up by the old man, deliberately taking action while the authorities in Dragon Valley are busy. Ao Qing cursed angrily. In contrast, Jiang Xiaobai looked calm as if he didn't feel distressed at all. Just stay calm, no matter how much you kick it, it will have no effect. Just then, a creepy laugh came from behind them. Instantly, they felt a chill run down their spines. When they entered, they did not feel the presence of anyone in the cell at all. The two of them turned around at the same time, and after a careful look, they found a skinny person sitting in the dark corner. So you're Ao Qing? Ao Wan's little son? The skinny figure laughed. His voice was hoarse. Chapter 85, Chapter 85, Chapter 85, The Sinner Ao Cangtian of Dragon Valley. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 85, Chapter 85, The Sinner Ao Cangtian of Dragon Valley, Translator, 549690339, Who are you? Ao Qing knitted his brows and Jiang Xiaobai, on the side, also moved closer to ask, do you know him? I don't know jack shit about him. He's someone locked up in Dragon Valley's death prison. Why the hell would I know him? Ao Qing said with annoyance. At this moment, the figure in the shadow stood up. Simultaneously, the scraping sound of chains sliding along the ground could be heard. Clank. The chains scraping along the ground seemed to have been yanked tight, stretching taut before letting out a sharp noise. The thin, frail figure froze in his place, still within the shadow. Although he was shrouded in darkness, one could vaguely make out his outline. He was incredibly thin, about as skeletal as a man could be. A chill instantly spread through Jiang Xiaobai's heart, and he didn't need light to picture the repugnant figure in his mind. Certainly ghastly looking. So many years have passed without any movement. I almost forgot about this dog collar chained onto me. The emaciated man laughed lightly. Come, let me see what you look like, kid, see if you resemble that old man Ao Wan. The stench in his breath hit the men with anxiety. Ao Qing instinctively swallowed his saliva. His gut told him that the man before him was far from benign. Going up to him rashly would surely spell trouble, so he shook his head. He did not advance forwards, but instead took a few steps backward until he was leaning against the large prison door. Is Ao Wan's bastard so gutless? You don't have even 1/10 of your father's spunk. When I see your father someday, I'll definitely tell him to give you a good beating. The thin figure said, sneering. Ao Qing's face turned red with anger, but he made no other move. Who are you, and how do you know so much? Jiang Xiaobai squinted his eyes. Want to know? If you want to know, then come closer. Let me tell you in detail. The hoarse voice in the dark was truly hair-raising. Jiang Xiaobai frowned, and actually stepped forward. Are you out of your mind? Going up to him is seeking death. Ao Qing shouted urgently, wishing to stop him, but Jiang Xiaobai did not pay heed. In just a few steps, he was at the edge of the shadow. He could even feel the breathing of the man before him, rustling his hair. Suddenly, a pair of blood-red eyes appeared in the darkness. Clank. The chain stretched taut again, letting out a creepy roar. Regardless, the emaciated figure remained stuck in his place. Seeing this, Ao Qing finally let down his guard and cautiously approached Jiang Xiaobai. Old man, are you a friend or foe of Dragon Valley? What crimes have you committed that you're chained here? Ao Qing asked curiously. The son of Dragon Valley's lord has less courage than a chi-refining beginner. The thin figure sneered continuously. As for your question, the answer is both. Both. Ao Qing gasped, his eyes wide as saucers as if he'd thought of something. Are you that, who? Remembered now. The hoarse voice carried a touch of self-mockery. In just the span of 100 years, the people of Dragon Valley have forgotten about me. Scrape. At this moment, a flame emerged. Jiang Xiaobai couldn't stand the eerie atmosphere anymore and used his spiritual power to create a small spark. When he saw the sight before him, he was instantly taken aback, his scalp tingling in fear. He saw an emaciated old man, bound by 9 thick chains that were as thick as his own forearm. What's more, parts of the old man's body, like his shoulders, hips, and legs, were all pierced by the chains, keeping him firmly locked in place. This is the dragon chain, a divine artifact of Dragon Valley. A treasure rumored to possess a trace of the divine power of a celestial artifact. Ao Cheng suddenly exclaimed, "They used this thing to bind you." "Heh, that's nothing." The old man lightly laughed. "Do you know how many years I've been locked up here?" "Not much, just 125 years. Gulp. Jiang Xiaobai and Ao Cheng instinctively swallowed their saliva, gazing at the old man's chained figure. Both felt their scalps tingle in fear. Good grief, he's been locked up like this for 125 years. You should know that those chains went right through his flesh, and those wounds haven't healed in over 100 years. Enduring this kind of pain for over 100 years, Jiang Xiaobai didn't dare imagine, who on earth is he to be locked up like this? Jiang Xiaobai lifted his eyebrow. Even if there's such a deep hatred, wouldn't it be finished if he was just killed? Hatred? Suddenly, a wave of fury and insanity spread across the old man's face. What does hatred matter when all of them want to devour my flesh and smash my bones? Leaving an old man like me here is merely a form of punishment. Punishment for what? Jiang Xiaobai instinctively asked. Punishment for his betrayal of Dragon Valley, leading to the loss of its foundation and a great fall from its status. At this moment, Ao Cheng suddenly opened his mouth. You know about this? Jiang Xiaobai was startled and turned his head. He saw shock written all over Ao Cheng's face. Ao Cangtian, is that your name? Is it really you? Huh, after so many years, you're the first to call me by my name. Ao Cangtian broke into laughter. Ah, if you hadn't reminded me, I would have forgotten my own name. So you are indeed Ao Cangtian. In a sudden bout of extreme rage, Ao Cheng tightened his fists. You son of a bitch. Without your collusion with the ancient clans leading to such losses for Dragon Valley, how could it have turned into what it is now? Buzz. Jiang Xiaobai's mind was instantly filled with shock. He had an inkling of Dragon Valley's history before. In the old days, Dragon Valley was the supreme overlord of the entire eastern region, unparalleled. But then, due to some unknown incident, it morphed into what it is now. Jiang Xiaobai never would have thought that it was because of someone's collusion with the ancient clans. What are you so excited about? Ao Cangtian chuckled. It's all said and done. Even if you kill me, what difference does it make? Besides, can you kill me? Humph, you're just a dog tied up with chains. How could I, a young master, not kill you? Ao Cheng retorted angrily, raising his hand to throw a punch. Jiang Xiaobai saw this and wanted to stop him, but he was too late. He saw Ao Cangtian's messy hair transform into hundreds of sharp blades, directly thrusting towards Ao Cheng. For a split second, Jiang Xiaobai thought Ao Cheng was done for. Surprisingly, the strands of hair merely entwined around Ao Cheng's fist. Then, they threw him out, thrown fiercely onto the wall. Ao Cheng coughed up a mouthful of blood. Now you tell me, do you have the ability to kill me? Ao Cangtian kept on sneering. Even your father didn't have this ability, how could you? Maybe your grandpa has a little chance, but you can't. After saying this with a cold scoff, Ao Cangtian sat down on the ground. He raised his head, his blood-red eyes staring straight at Jiang Xiaobai. His gaze was enough to make Jiang Xiaobai's scalp tingle and his body shiver. You come here, I have a question for you. Chapter 86, Chapter 86, Chapter 86, Senior, would you like to go out? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 86, Chapter 86, Senior, would you like to go out? Translator, 549690339. Faced with the words of the old man, Jiang Xiaobai went over after some thought. He was indeed a little curious about the matter of Ao Cangtian. If Ao Cangtian did betray the Dragon Valley years ago, it wouldn't be hard to understand why they locked him up and tortured him for a century. After all, if Jiang Xiaobai was put in the same position, he would do the same, but Jiang Xiaobai always felt that there was something fishy about Ao Cangtian, so, he walked to a spot not far away, making sure that he wouldn't be killed if Ao Cangtian suddenly lashed out before he sat down. Ao Cangtian examined him from head to toe and then burst into laughter. You're just in the qi refining phase, and it seems like you've just started to absorb the qi into your body. You're not from Dragon Valley either, so how did you end up in here? Don't tell me it's because of that good-for-nothing Ao Cheng. That guy is hopeless. Ao Cheng's eyes widened at this. Wow, old guy, just because you're powerful doesn't mean you can insult me like that. TCH, calling yourself a young master. If you had half the spirit your father had back in his day, you wouldn't be locked up here. You. For a moment, Ao Cheng didn't know what to say. Kid, I'm asking you a question. Answer me. Ao Cangtian directed his attention back to Jiang Xiaobai. Jiang Xiaobai was straight to the point and revealed his identity. Ao Cangtian then fell silent. Dragon Valley, has it really become this weak? Even the ancient clan dares to force a marriage. Ao Cangtian suddenly let out a wretched laugh. You have the nerve to talk. If it wasn't for you back then, how could Dragon Valley have ended up like this? Ao Cheng sneered, but no sooner had the words left his mouth than a bloody storm arose within the cell. The violent spiritual power enveloped the two of them. Ao Cangtian's eyes were filled with ferocity, blood seemed to drip from his crimson irises. Back then. Do you even know what happened back then? You know nothing, you have no right to scold me. Ao Cangtian roared incessantly, his voice chilling to the bone. Ao Cheng lay on the ground, pale-faced, his head buzzing, but he still didn't admit defeat. You bullshit, if it wasn't for you betraying the clan leader's whereabouts, how could Dragon Valley have ended up like this, and how could my great-grandpa still be severely injured? Ao Cheng roared, you've ruined Dragon Valley. Why do you still have the audacity to act so high and mighty? Because of you, Dragon Valley has ended up in this state, and any clan power dares to bully us. Otherwise, why would my sister go to such lengths? Do you know what she's been through these years? His continuous roars left Ao Cangtian rooted to the spot. The pressure within the cell disappeared, leaving only Ao Cangtian sitting on his knees, his eyes vacant and blank. Yenner, hasn't she been doing well these years? Ao Cangtian murmured after a long pause. Ao Cheng only snorted coldly without responding. To Jiang Xiaobai, who had been watching from the sidelines, this was startling. It seemed that Ao Yan had already been there before Ao Cangtian was locked up, and this guy seemed to care about Ao Yan. What the hell? However, Ao Cangtian remained silent afterwards, sitting in a corner, his face dull and slightly dazed. No one spoke to him since he refused to talk. After restoring himself, Ao Cheng started to curse at Ao Zhantian. After cursing for a long time without any reaction from the outside, it was Ao Cheng himself who ended up exhausted, leaning against the wall and panting heavily. Meanwhile, Jiang Xiaobai was considering his next moves. Now that he had been captured by Ao Zhantian, he wasn't getting out. Although he could test the solidity of the prison with his sword rainbow, what would be the point even if he could break it? There were a bunch of strong people waiting outside. His current state inside Dragon Valley was not as peaceful as it appeared on the surface. In fact, at any moment he could be abandoned, so to solve his current troubles, he had to outsmart, not act recklessly. Jiang Xiaobai, once my sister comes out of her seclusion, we'll definitely be fine, Ao Cheng said, trying to lighten the heavy mood upon seeing Jiang Xiaobai's serious expression, but Jiang Xiaobai just shook his head. You're being too optimistic. If Ao Zhantian dares to make a move at this time, it's clear he never intended to let me leave alive. As for you, you're a disciple of Dragon Valley. At most, he'll give you a beating, but he wouldn't dare lay a finger on you. Ao Cheng fell silent at this. He knew that Jiang Xiaobai was right. Despite his good relationship with Jiang Xiaobai, the rest of Dragon Valley was not keen on keeping him alive, because he was the one who brought shame upon them. Though the ringleader was Ao Yan, she was untouchable, so naturally, they would want Jiang Xiaobai to take the fall. Time passed slowly. Indeed, Jiang Xiaobai had many tricks up his sleeve to escape, but those would undoubtedly reveal his real power. Raising suspicion, staying put was a better choice. I don't need to escape, they can let me out. An idea struck Jiang Xiaobai, and he suddenly started laughing. He had found a way. How foolish of me, being trapped by my own thoughts. The current situation doesn't depend on me, but on Ao Yan. I was so focused on finding a way to escape, but there's actually no need. Once he figured it out, an unsettling grin spread across Jiang Xiaobai's face. Ao Cheng, who had been observing him all this while, was bewildered. Dude, what's up with that expression? Jiang Xiaobai rolled his eyes. I just figured out a way to get out. Really? Ao Cheng's eyes lit up, grabbing Jiang Xiaobai's shoulders and shaking him excitedly. Tell me, what did you figure out? You don't need to know, because only I can get out. Damn it. Ao Cheng sprang to his feet, pointing accusingly at Jiang Xiaobai. You're being dishonest. What's the point if only you can get out? If I don't follow you, you'll just have to come back in. Exactly, I'm going to come back in. Wait, are you out of your mind? Ao Cheng was left stunned by Jiang Xiaobai's plans, which were beyond his comprehension. Jiang Xiaobai ignored him, turned around, and looked at Ao Cangtian who was sitting in the corner. Old-timer, do you want to get out of here? There was a clinking sound, the chains rattling. Ao Cangtian lifted his head to look at Jiang Xiaobai, his gaze similar to looking at an idiot. Is your brain malfunctioning, or are my ears playing tricks on me? Jiang Xiaobai shrugged his shoulders. I am confident I can get you out. But the odds are slim, and it would require your cooperation. Stop talking nonsense. Even if he dies in this cell, there's no way he'll be let out. Ao Cheng stood there with his hands on his hips, shouting, yet, Jiang Xiaobai's mouth curled up with a smile. There's no need to let him out. Senior can leave on his own. Chapter 87, Chapter 87, Chapter 87, Scheming in the Heart. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 87, Chapter 87, Scheming in the Heart, Translator, 549690339. Upon his words, not only was Ao Cheng almost popping his eyes out, even Ao Cangtian squinted, staring at Jiang Xiaobai intensively. Jiang Xiaobai, I warn you, don't stir up trouble. Ao Cheng shouted once he recovered. Ao Cangtian is a criminal of our dragon clan, he can't be allowed to leave. I know you, always scheming. You can conspire whatever you want, but if you're scheming him, we'll be at odds. Ao Cheng was quite earnest. After all, Ao Cangtian's deeds were unforgivable. Ao Cangtian seemed intrigued. Kid, even though I don't know why you're so confident, let me tell you this, don't be too ambitious if you can't handle it. Even if you let me go, I won't leave. Jiang Xiaobai found himself in a situation where he was both crying and laughing. He had this sense that Ao Cangtian misunderstood his intentions, and this made him all the more confident in his hypothesis. Elder, Ao Cheng, don't rush it. Can't we? Ao Cheng quickly spoke. You're about to ruin the dragon clan, shouldn't I be anxious? If it hadn't been for your earlier reliability, I would have had you killed. Cough cough, calm down, hear me out. Jiang Xiaobai made a dry cough, ignoring Ao Cheng, and turned his gaze to Ao Cangtian. Elder, I only have one question, were you framed back then? As he asked this, Jiang Xiaobai was grave. At that instant, the air in the prison cell seemed to freeze. Ao Cangtian stood stunned, looking at Jiang Xiaobai with mixed emotions. Ao Cheng, caught off guard, burst into laughter afterward. Stop joking, Jiang Xiaobai, this old man was busted red-handed and didn't even have a chance to escape. Ao Cheng sneered, although I don't know the specifics, I do know something. Everyone witnessed it, how could he possibly be framed? Nevertheless, no one was listening to Ao Cheng. Why would you ask that? Ao Cangtian raised an eyebrow. It's simple, I feel that you don't have any malice towards us. Jiang Xiaobai calmly spoke. If a rebel who has been imprisoned for 100 years meets his enemy, he would have been extremely resentful. Even though you were chained, it would still be easy for you to kill us. This is also why we were locked up in this cell. However, you didn't kill us, and your previous actions and words make me feel that you're filled with guilt towards Ao Yen and the Dragon Clan. So, are you staying here, enduring the torture willingly, just to pacify your conscience, and, especially just now, you misunderstood my intentions? Jiang Xiaobai smirked. That's why I asked you. Even if you betrayed the Dragon Clan back then, there must be more to the story. Ao Cangtian looked at Jiang Xiaobai in disbelief, as if looking at a monster. His eyes expressed deeper complexity. Your words make sense. Ao Cangtian laughed after a long while, then all was quiet. He neither admitted nor denied anything. What's the point of talking to a traitor? Ao Cheng smirked. Jiang Xiaobai, you're not going to tell me that your way out lies with this old devil, are you? Jiang Xiaobai nodded. Ao Cheng became so furious that he wanted to act out, but Jiang Xiaobai calmed him down. Jiang Xiaobai looked at Ao Cangtian, feeling troubled. He didn't know what was in Ao Cangtian's mind, but it seemed like there was a high chance that he was framed back then. However, this old man was just too difficult to crack. Wouldn't someone who has been wrongly accused for so many years yearn to clear their name? If not, there must be deep resentment. Yet Jiang Xiaobai didn't notice such feelings from Ao Cangtian. Did I get it wrong? He wasn't framed but is actually a cunning old fox. Jiang Xiaobai felt troubled. What gave him some hope was that Ao Cangtian genuinely misunderstood him. He wanted to let Ao Cangtian out, aiming to use him to deal with the threat from the ancient tribe. However, Ao Cangtian likely thought that he wanted to exploit his grudge against the dragon clan and help him overthrow it. Well, more or less, forget it, let's not think about this. The priority now is to get out. Jiang Xiaobai thought to himself. He then lifted his head and looked at Ao Cheng. What are you staring at? Watch what you're thinking. Ao Cheng looked puzzled. You were just stirring things up. Keep it up, bring those people to me and I can get out. Jiang Xiaobai spoke. Are you sure? Absolutely sure. Alright then, I believe you. Ao Cheng rose to his feet. He trusted Jiang Xiaobai greatly. After all, Jiang Xiaobai had helped him a lot recently. Then Ao Cheng started to kick up a fuss, throwing punches, kicking, swearing. He almost cursed down the ancestry of the guys outside, but there was still no response. What is Ao Zhantian thinking about? He can't just want to lock us up, can he? Ao Cheng was panting hard, sweating profusely. Jiang Xiaobai simply shook his head. Impossible, he must have his own plan, and it's definitely about killing me. Probably just wants to humiliate me first. No matter how much Ao Cheng struggled, there was no response from the other party, which was quite maddening. Jiang Xiaobai would never allow his opponents to strike first. Once Ao Zhantian appeared, it would mean that his days were numbered. After much thought, Jiang Xiaobai could only turn to Ao Cangtian. Don't look at me, I'm not going to help you. Ao Cangtian smirked. You are indeed smart, knowing to coax Ao Cheng, this idiot, but I'm not a fool. Sometimes, being too smart is a fool, Jiang Xiaobai said coldly. This old man, he just overcomplicates things. What did you say? Ao Cangtian let out a cold hum. Once again the cell was filled with an unbearable rumble as if planning to crush Jiang Xiaobai into pieces. Jiang Xiaobai could hardly bear such magnitude, yet he gritted his teeth and endured it. Elder, I'm not what you think, I'm just an ordinary man. I was dragged into this mess for no reason, that's not my fault. I just want to survive. Did I do something wrong? Upon hearing this, Ao Cangtian slowly withdrew his power. He watched Jiang Xiaobai for a long time. Finally, he broke the silence. First, tell me what you want me to do. It's simple. I know that Elder's power isn't sealed. All you need to do now is to circulate your energy wildly and pretend like you want to break out. Jiang Xiaobai quickly explained. Chapter 88, Chapter 88, Chapter 88, She Won't Succeed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 88, Chapter 88, She Won't Succeed, Translator, 549690339. Ao Cangtian was somewhat puzzled. Why so? Doing so will draw Ao Zhantian here, and even if he doesn't come, others will. As long as someone shows up, I will be able to get out. Jiang Xiaobai spoke lightly. They simply can't afford to not let me out. What do you suppose will happen if they realize I'm trying to escape? Ao Cangtian asked, laughing lightly. Jiang Xiaobai found himself in an awkward position. Obviously, if they did discover Ao Cangtian's plan, they would surely torture him. But he had no other options. If he doesn't attempt to escape, Jiang Xiaobai would either have to self-detonate his cultivation, or wait for death. Going all out might not even guarantee his escape. This pill will alleviate your pain and restore some of your old injuries. Jiang Xiaobai produced a round pill. From looking at your state, senior, I can tell you have many old wounds. If you were not so potent, you would have been dead long ago. You know how to refine pills? Ao Cangtian asked, full of surprise. If Jiang Xiaobai knew how to do that, he would be a priceless asset within the Dragon Valley. In his time, such people were always carefully protected. Old man, you probably don't know, but the pill refining saint of 5 Lotus Mountain can't even compete with my sister's cheap brother-in-law. Ao Cheng chuckled, saying, although this kid can sometimes be sly, he's actually pretty good. This junior likes him very much. I'd advise you to just help him. If you don't, and he decides to go against you, well, you won't be able to do anything about it. At that, Jiang Xiaobai was solicitous and wanted to crawl into a hole. Damn it, Ao Cheng, is it really okay to speak like this in front of such an invincible strongman? Yet, Ao Cangtian laughed, boy, have you ever heard that all plots and schemes are nothing but trivial matters in the face of absolute power? PSSH, what power can you possibly have in your current shape? Ao Cheng scoffed, but as soon as the words left his mouth, his expression changed dramatically, because Ao Cangtian had exploded in power. The entire prison cell was filled with a horrifying aura, so strong it felt like a hand grabbing one's throat. Luckily, Ao Cangtian shielded the two of them. Otherwise, the oppressive force sweeping across the room would have shattered their bodies. Moreover, Ao Cangtian's aura was still rising rapidly. Cracks started appearing in the prison cell's walls. Jiang Xiaobai was so nervous that his eyelids were twitching incessantly. Such a solid cell, under the power of his current aura, was about to break apart. Really? This is how strong he is. Just as Jiang Xiaobai's heart was racing, the 9 giant chains wrapped around Ao Cangtian suddenly shined with a dazzling golden light. At the same time, mysterious runes appeared in the air, causing the chains to suddenly tighten. The sound of crushed bones could be heard. However, even under such severe torment, Ao Cangtian had an expressionless face, continuously releasing his imposing aura. At this moment, the intensity of his aura had exceeded the unity period. Boom! 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 Blood fog began to burst out of Ao Cangtian's body, the result of his skin being crushed. Enough, enough, senior, please stop. Jiang Xiaobai hastily called out. Only then did the terrifying aura in the prison cell cease. At this point, Ao Cangtian's face had turned ghostly pale, and he appeared extremely weak. His cold sweat had soaked the ground. Kid, I'll help you this one time, considering you're Ao Yan's husband and also an alchemist. I hope you'll be able to get out. Ao Cangtian, despite his grave condition, scoffed, but if you dare to betray me, you will die a terrible death. Jiang Xiaobai couldn't care less about this. He diverted all his attention to Ao Cangtian. He sprinted forward, shoving the pill he had in his hand into Ao Cangtian's mouth. Alright, you need to pretend that you are weak. Thank you, senior. As soon as Jiang Xiaobai finished speaking, the prison door was forcefully pushed open. Over a dozen individuals walked in, led by none other than Ao Zhantian. Ao Cangtian. After all these years, you still don't know when to stop. You really think you could escape? Ao Zhantian sneered, looking at Ao Cangtian, betraying Dragon Valley, committing such a heinous act. The fact that they haven't killed you already is their utmost benevolence. Don't push it further. Attack. As his words fell, over 10 dividing the gods' period powers prepared to advance and torture Ao Cangtian. Jiang Xiaobai stood up suddenly. Stop. Insolent, who do you think you, a mere mortal, is? Do you believe that I won't kill you here and now? Ao Zhantian looked at Jiang Xiaobai with a fierce expression. Do you know why I've kept you alive up to now? Humph, I'll be honest with you. Whatever you've done to my grandson, I'll make him repay you 100, 1,000 times more. Wanting to die is letting you off too easily. Despite all this, Jiang Xiaobai had a cold expression. Ao Zhantian, I must admit, your methods are not bad. But in a few days, I can assure you, you will let me out. Oh. Who gave you the courage? Ao Zhantian laughed, his laughter filled with wildness. You must be aware that Ao Wan, the clan chief, and elder Ao Zhenbei are preoccupied with watching Ao Yan's breakthrough upgrade, hence they can't intervene. That's why you've chosen this time to take action against me. Jiang Xiaobai smiled slightly. You know that Ao Yan's breakthrough is critical, but let me tell you this, without me, Ao Yan won't succeed in her breakthrough. With that, everyone present was astonished. Ao Cheng looked at Jiang Xiaobai with a dumbfounded expression. Brother, is your plan to escape this rash and reckless? What a joke, How does Ao Yan's breakthrough have anything to do with you? You think you're a god? You're right, I currently control Ao Yan's life and death. Jiang Xiaobai shrugged nonchalantly, you bald old dog, you're quite dense. Why would I dare to tell you without a reassurance? What do you mean? Ao Zhantian suddenly felt that things were getting a bit out of hand. Jiang Xiaobai fluttered the dust off his fingers, shaking his head. Never mind, if you don't believe me it doesn't matter. I hope you won't regret it when Ao Yan's body explodes, and she dies. Ao Yan is the hope of the Dragon Valley. If hope dies, you are finished. Okay, elder, go back. You have nothing to do here. Such arrogant words. Ao Zhantian was fuming, a chi refining stage waste was threatening him. At this moment, Torawarit Zhantian just wanted to slap Jiang Xiaobai to death. However, he knew that Jiang Xiaobai was a capable alchemist, who in the Dragon Valley didn't know about Jiang Xiaobai's grand battle with Kong Yuhuai at 5 Lotus Mountain. If what Jiang Xiaobai said was true, then Zhantian's fate was doomed. He would die miserably. What exactly have you done? Jiang Xiaobai blew off some dust on his fingers. Nothing much, I just fed her a 9 yin-yang pill in her daily life. By the time she wants to break through, the medicine should have started to take effect. Jiang Xiaobai said casually. Chapter 89, Chapter 89, Chapter 89, Dared Not Bet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 89, Chapter 89, Dared Not Bet, Translator, 549690339.9 yin-yang pills. Every single person present shudders at the mention of this name. This is known to be an aggressively potent poison in the legends, the poison of all poisons. Its potency is terrifying. After consuming it, once the medicinal effect comes into play, the channels throughout the body will be filled with devastating energy. The person who consumes it would first have to endure unbearable, excruciating pain. This agony stems from the very soul. Over time, their channels would rot slowly, followed by the destruction of their vital energy source, and that's not all. Projectile vomiting, blindness, and delirium are all secondary symptoms. The end result for the poisoned individual: decomposing into a pile of festering flesh and oozing fluid. A gruesome death awaits. Of course, there are many poisons that have similar effects, but the terrifying aspect of this medicinal pill is that it doesn't directly cause death once its effects kick in. Rather, it continues for an unhurriedly extensive period of time. In this critical time, if you dare to mobilize your spiritual power, you would only suffer more agony. That's why the 9 yin-yang pills is known as the most toxic of medicinal pills. The toxicity lies not in the physical effects, but in the human psyche. And the cure? Sorry, once the effects kick in, there's no antidote, unless you decide to directly disable your source of vital energy and abandon all of your cultivation just to survive. That is what makes it the most toxic. The only solution. An antidote can counteract the poison before the effects kick in. Fortunately, there is a certain time before it can take effect, at least 7 days. It needs that time to penetrate every organ, limb, and bone with its toxicity. Currently, Ao Yan is trying to break through a barrier. If the 9 yin-yang pills take effect, my god, Ao Yan might end up completely ruined then and there. Everyone looked at Jiang Xiaobai, all wishing they could chop him up into pieces and feed him to dogs. You've got guts. Ao Zhantian pointed at Jiang Xiaobai, his eyes filled with fury. Ao Cheng and Ao Cangtian, too, were burning with rage. Ao Cheng, in particular, was so angry he couldn't formulate a sentence as he pointed at Jiang Xiaobai. A face flushed with rage expressed his present state. Given the opportunity, he would surely shred Jiang Xiaobai to pieces. You dog. After I treated you like a brother, you dare pull such a trick on me? Ao Cheng roared in anger. Jiang Xiaobai casually cleaned his ears, his expression carefree. Keep shouting. You know how to counteract the 9 yin-yang pills, right? Do you know how to create the antidote? Do you have it? Jiang Xiaobai still appeared carefree. Either free me now, or watch Ao Yan die. Don't worry, the death of an ordinary person like me is a worthy exchange for the talented princess of Dragon Valley. His words abruptly extinguished everyone's anger. They were truly out of options. The 9 yin-yang pills were a thing of legend. They had all heard about it but never seen it, the lost recipe. How could they know how to create an antidote? You've got to be joking. Zhantian stared intently at Jiang Xiaobai, continuously questioning the validity of his statements, but, ultimately, Zhantian was left with a single thought: he could not gamble on this. If Jiang Xiaobai wasn't bluffing and truly poisoned Yan, then Dragon Valley could bear the loss. You bastard, you're nothing but a dirty scoundrel. Cheng raged uncontrollably. I could kill you now and still obtain the antidote. Cheng, don't panic when faced with difficulties. Jiang Xiaobai calmly said, even if you kill me, you won't get the antidote. The formula and method for creating it are all in my head. Even if you knew it, you wouldn't be able to formulate it. Continue, let's see how much more time you can waste. Cheng was flabbergasted. Ah! Jiang Xiaobai, you are nothing short of a beast. Dragon Valley has treated you fairly, right? Even though they look down on your status, I sincerely considered you a friend. So what? Jiang Xiaobai raised an eyebrow. Power is the only law in this world. I, in the qi refining phase, am merely surviving. Cheng, you are too impulsive. For a moment, the atmosphere in the room plummeted to freezing. Everyone's glance on Jiang Xiaobai was blood red. Their murderous intentions were like the sea, ready to engulf him. Even though there were many factions within Dragon Valley vying for complete power and status, even though Zhantian was in contact with the ancient families, but they all knew one thing: no matter what, Yan was their hope for Dragon Valley. That's why Yan could enjoy the highest status within Dragon Valley. And do as she pleases, but now, they don't dare to take a gamble. The only person who was slightly sober in this situation was Cangtian. When he first heard what Jiang Xiaobai said, the anger in his heart made him want to kill Jiang Xiaobai on the spot, but on second thought, that's not right. This kid has no reason to kill Yan, and it seems like Jiang Xiaobai has been hinting at something to Cheng all along. Phew, this kid is really a schemer. Soon, Cangtian figured it out. This was Jiang Xiaobai's plot to get out, a fake plot. After all, Dragon Valley didn't dare to gamble. Jiang Xiaobai also felt helpless. He had been hinting at Cheng all along, but this idiot didn't catch on. However, this was better. In reality, he could communicate the plan to Cheng. But he was worried Cheng would give it away. The smartest thing to do was to keep Cheng in the dark. His intense reaction at the right moment would be the perfect decoy. Good, very good. Jiang Xiaobai, you are cunning. Who would have thought that I would fall into the hands of a mere mortal like you? Zhantian clenched his teeth. These words were forced out from between them. For this, Jiang Xiaobai paid no attention, continuing to tinker with his hands, his expression focused. I'll take you out. But, if anything happens to Yan, I assure you there are thousands of tortures in Dragon Valley ready to give you a taste. Zhantian said coldly, no, you're taking me with you. Cheng yelled, his eyes red, glaring at Jiang Xiaobai. Jiang Xiaobai, if you dare play tricks, I promise you'll die a horrible death. Even though Zhantian was filled with rage, wishing he could crush Jiang Xiaobai here and now, he had no choice. Yan was Dragon Valley's last hope. She couldn't be lost. Thus, Jiang Xiaobai and Cheng walked leisurely outside, even though they were surrounded by Dragon Valley's powerful forces. Jiang Xiaobai wasn't scared. Once he reached Yan's courtyard, he would immediately reveal the truth. There weren't any 9 yin-yang pills to begin with. Who knows what Zhantian's facial expression would look like when the truth is revealed. Before leaving, Jiang Xiaobai secretly gave Cangtian a thankful gesture. Cangtian gave him an equally meaningful look as he left. Tisk, tsk, who would have thought there was such a person within Dragon Valley? They're all going to be made monkeys of. Cangtian chuckled internally. Now, he started to take an interest in Jiang Xiaobai. Too bad he can't go out, otherwise, he would truly want to see what everyone's faces would look like when the truth was out. Chapter 90, Chapter 90, Chapter 90, It's all fake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 90, Chapter 90, It's all fake, translator, 549690339. As they went along, the expression on everyone's faces, apart from Jiang Xiaobai's, looked as if they had lost a father and caught the killer, savage, desperate, and filled with infinite rage. If something happened to Ao Yan, everything would be over for Dragon Valley. Ao Cheng, walking next to Jiang Xiaobai, clenched his fist so hard that he was tempted several times to kill him on the spot. Unfortunately, he was stopped by his better judgment. Ao Cheng, who was usually unreliable, became the most steadfast whenever Ao Yan was involved. Jiang Xiaobai, I didn't realize you would ever be such an ungrateful wretch. Ao Cheng muttered furiously. Jiang Xiaobai appeared nonchalant, shrugged, and replied, Ao Cheng, you can never truly know a person. You won't be so rash in the future. Bull crap, Jiang Xiaobai, you better behave yourself or I am really going to kill you. Ao Cheng sneered, his body trembling with anger. Jiang Xiaobai ignored him and casually followed the group towards Ao Yan's house. Skilled warriors from Dragon Valley were all around us, both in sight and hidden among the shadows. Despite being aware of the circumstances, everyone was still in shock when they saw it. The gathering was terrifying. Almost all the top warriors of Dragon Valley were gathered here. All of them were merely there to protect Ao Yan. This showed how much Dragon Valley valued Ao Yan, or to be more precise, her natural talent and her ability of bloodline power. As soon as the group reached the edge of the guard area, a group of powerful warriors emerged. Ao Zhantian, what do you mean by this? The elder leading the group was a close associate of Ao Yuanwu. Seeing Ao Zhantian in this state, he assumed that he was there to cause trouble. I have something very important. This kid poisoned the princess with the 9 yin-yang pills. Ao Zhantian coldly said, clear the way immediately. If something happens to Princess Ao Yan, Dragon Valley will perish. What? Poison? The Supreme Elder narrowed his brows. The warriors around him changed their faces dramatically, clearly aware of the capabilities of 9 yin-yang pills. You rogue. You've grown so daring as to poison the princess with such a vicious weapon. An angered warrior yelled towards Jiang Xiaobai. Jiang Xiaobai simply ignored him. Just a few hundred meters more and his escape plan would be perfectly executed. There's no room for any slip-ups at this time. Clear the way immediately. Only he knows how to concoct the antidote. We can't waste time. Ao Zhantian's command echoed. The many elders and warriors blocking the path promptly stepped aside to clear a path, their gaze fixed on Jiang Xiaobai as if wishing to kill him. If looks could kill, Jiang Xiaobai estimated he would have been dead 1,000 times over. Feeling somewhat daunted, he wondered if he took the joke too far. Forget it. Any rooster or hen will do as long as it lays eggs. Before long, the group reached the entrance to Ao Yan's yard. Practically all the hidden guardians have learned about Jiang's poisoning, mobilizing and following closely behind Jiang Xiaobai, fearing that Jiang Xiaobai would find an opportunity to escape. At the entrance to the yard, Ao1 was playing chess with Ao Zhanbei. Seeing so many people, they were both puzzled. What's going on? Haven't I said for you guys to guard outside? Seeing this, Ao1 scolded through gritted teeth, clan leader, this is the situation. Ao Zhantian did not mention that he had kidnapped Jiang Xiaobai. Instead, he said he was accused of poisoning Ao Yan, prompting him to rush over hastily. Upon hearing his words, Ao1 and Ao Zhanbei were enraged. They were about to expose their auras, but considering that Ao Yan was still trying to break through inside, they forcibly suppressed their anger. Jiang Xiaobai. Ao1 gritted his teeth. Just what evil intentions do you harbor, to dare to poison Yenner with such a deadly toxin? From the moment he stood in front of the yard, Jiang Xiaobai's worries were completely gone. He finally let out a sigh of relief. Everything turned out fine in the end. Answer me, why did you act against Yenner, even if she... Just as Ao1 was about to utter something, Jiang Xiaobai raised his hand to interrupt him. Uncle Ao, there are no 9 yin-yang pills. What? The entire crowd was stunned for a moment. Ao Cheng was dumbfounded, the look in his eyes completely blank as he stared at Jiang Xiaobai. It was understandable considering his slow comprehension. Ao1 and Ao Zhanbei, two very influential people, were also completely lost. The only person who seemed to understand what was going on was probably Ao Zhantian, who had always wanted Jiang Xiaobai dead. He immediately realized that this was Jiang Xiaobai's trick. "You scoundrel, you actually dare play me." Zhantian was furious and was about to kill Jiang Xiaobai on the spot. Now that he knew everything, there was no way he could let Jiang Xiaobai tell the truth, otherwise, he'd be the one in the hot seat. Unfortunately, just as he was about to strike, Zhantian made his move, boom. Zhantian was knocked back, his eyes filled with rage and resentment. "Let him explain what's going on." Zhantian looked at Jiang Xiaobai with a cold expression. Seeing this, Jiang Xiaobai started to smirk at Zhantian, and mouthed the words, "Bald-headed old dog, what can you do to me?" Then, Jiang Xiaobai recounted all of the events that had happened since the morning, without any exaggeration. Upon hearing his words, everyone's gaze shifted to Zhantian, with a sense of disapproval. What is Zhantian thinking about exactly? It's just Jiang Xiaobai, an ordinary man, but he also the royal consort. How could they act against him at such a critical time? It would be easy to kill an ordinary man, why take such a risk now? This unnecessary shock. The warriors finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness it wasn't true. "Grandpa Ao, I'm sorry. I knew Zhantian would act against me and Cheng, so I used this as a last resort." Jiang Xiaobai looked remorseful and sincerely added, "Everything I said about the 9 yin-yang pills was fabricated. This pill was lost long ago, how could I possibly know how to concoct it?" "You." Cheng pointed at Jiang Xiaobai, speechless for a while. It was only now that he understood why Jiang Xiaobai had said those inexplicable things to him before. It turned out, he was hinting at him. Upon thinking about this, Cheng felt both excited and dizzy. "Jiang Xiaobai, you really scared the hell out of me. Can't you warn me in advance next time?" Cheng said unhappily, "No wait, there can't be a next time. My heart can't withstand being tormented like this." At this point, how could he still bear any resentment towards Jiang Xiaobai?